So, big news coming out of the Chicago Bears camp today, where they signed a secondary player who has quite the history in the NFL. So, we got to talk about it. Welcome back to Bears Yard. This your boy Vipe, and the Chicago Bears have added to their active roster safety CJ Gardner Johnson. Now, if the name is familiar to Bears fans, it might be because he's been involved with a couple of dust-ups with Chicago Bears players in recent memory. Lately, I think it was a few years ago, he got into a fight with Javon Wims. Javon Wims punched him and things like that and got thrown out and different things like that. And then before that, he got into a dust-up with Anthony Miller when he was on the Bears. So CJ Gardner Johnson is no stranger to the Chicago Bears, but now he is a Chicago Bear. So what has Gardner Johnson been doing lately up to this point? Well, last year he was actually on the Philadelphia Eagles and he helped them win the Super Bowl, obviously. He had 6 interceptions on the Eagles last year, so he did pretty well. At the start of this season, though, he was on the Houston Texans, started 3 games for them, and he was cut because I think he had some issues with players in the locker room and different things like that. So after the first 3 games of this season, the Texans cut him, and then he wound up on the Baltimore Ravens practice squad where he didn't really last long, and they cut him. And now the Bears have signed him today with our banged-up secondary, no Kyler Gordon, no Jalen Johnson, and different things like that. We needed some secondary depth, so we just signed CJ Gardner Johnson today. Ben Johnson feels like the Bears have a very strong veteran presence in the locker room that will help Gardner Johnson acclimate to the team culture. And that's why he feels like this dude could be a boost for the Bears, and he's not worried about what effect he will have in a locker room win. I can kind of agree with that, although I do find it ironic that it was, yesterday or the day before that Ben Johnson called out players in the locker room for some of the ongoing snafus that the Bears find themselves in on the field, like pre-snap penalties and penalties in general and different things like that. So in one breath, he's calling out the locker room, sort of, and in the same breath, he says that the locker room will be able to take care of and acclimate this player who's had a history of not being the best type of player in a locker room setting. So I don't know, it's kind of weird, but if he can help and he can play ball, bring him on, man. We need all the help that we can get, obviously, with the banged up secondary and the defense in general. But speaking of banged up, y'all, we got to look at this injury report that came out today because it's not getting any better for our Chicago Bears here. So on the injury report today, you now got Luther Burden. Obviously, he suffered a concussion in the Ravens game, so he did not participate in practice today. Roshan Johnson did not participate with a back injury. DJ Moore is still battling the hip and groin injury that he suffered a few weeks ago, so he didn't participate. Rome Odunze on the injury report today with a heel injury that he did not participate. Dominic Robinson obviously did not participate because he had the ankle injury that he suffered in the Ravens game. DeAndre Swift has the groin that he's still nursing. Not to worry about that, but he did not participate. And also, Alameda Zakia did not participate today because he has a knee injury. So, my Lord, the Bears' top 3-4 receivers are all on injury report today. It's not looking good. We already had a banged up defense. Now we got a banged up offense to go along with it. We just can't have nobody, huh? We just cannot have nice things here in Chicago. We do have some positive news, though. Cole Kmet was limited in practice today. He returned. Obviously, he did not play last week, but he's back in practice today, so that was good. Tyreek Stevenson also made his return to practice today. He was out last week as well. And then Amen Agbamiga was a full participant with this knee injury. So we do get the returns of Tyreek and Cole, but man, the top 4 receivers being on the injury list is not a good look. Now, it's only Wednesday, so I'm not worried right now. If this injury report looks the same on Friday, then we officially have a problem. But right now it's Wednesday. Like DeAndre Swift, he's always on the injury report. But the Bears nurse his injuries and they allow him to like take days off and different things like that. Similar to what they do with Grady Jarrett sometimes and Joe Tooney and different things like that. They're not really injured. Well, Grady Jarrett's injured, but when Joe Tooney ends up on the injury report, he's not really injured per se, but they just give him a day off and whatnot. But some of the stuff I'm not worried about. I think Rome will be okay. I think DeAndre Swift will be okay. Luther Burden obviously in that concussion protocol, so we'll have to see how that goes from day to day. But luckily, our opponent this week, the Bengals, have injury issues of their own because Joe Flacco is dealing with a shoulder injury. So he may play against the Bears on Sunday. He might not. But I'm not too, I'm a little bit weary, I should say, of backup quarterback because we did just get cooked by the Ravens backup quarterback. So if Joe Flacco can't go, I mean, are we going to get cooked by Jake Browning? I don't know. I mean, I hope not, but that is the current state of the Chicago Bears here in 2025 at this moment in time. But this is a very winnable game. Hopefully we can get a lot of these guys back and available to play on Sunday. That would be very, very nice. But Nothing is guaranteed right now. But let me know, what do you think of the signing of CJ Gardner Johnson? Do you feel like that he will be able to add a positive contribution to the Bears? Do you feel like he might be a problem in the locker room? Drop a comment and subscribe to the Yard for all things Chicago Bears.